7 already. My name is Jude. Ikame Jude. And of course, I've got my analyst in the studio this beautiful afternoon. Chukuma Okoro is just right here. Good to have you join us this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jude. Good afternoon to our listener at home.
All right. Beautiful. Everyone.
Or at work.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. So everyone feel free to join the conversation, okay? Feel very, very free to join the conversation this afternoon because we're streaming. Yeah. VOP 90.3 FM on YouTube. You can watch us live. Was also streaming all of our social media platforms. Let me put it that way, okay? Yeah. Just feel free, go there and let's do things together this afternoon. And don't forget to also join. Start sending in your WhatsApp messages via WhatsApp, okay? Yeah, just start dropping your messages via WhatsApp 081 717 56338 081 717 56338. All right, let me just look at a couple of stories quickly this afternoon. I want to bring you up to speed as regards what is happening in Nigeria. And of course, hey, everyone, we hear that the federal government is set to concession 5 airports. 5 airports in Nigeria. Keyamo is saying, well, there might be concessioning of airports, but we'll look at that briefly. Then we'll also look at the fact that some persons across board, other political parties are in support of the All Progressives Congress, are in support of this, current administration, when a whole lot of persons have been throwing stones, jibes, and everything, on. Well, I wouldn't want to say this, use this language, but then they are supporting this administration, all right, backing Tinubu's government and saying Tinubu would be president up until 2031. It's okay. And then later on, a certain group, as regards 2027 presidency, a group is urging Obi and Atiku, even others, a whole lot of them, to unite behind Bala Muhammad. Why? Why Bala Muhammad? I don't know. You get to find out this afternoon. And then obedience. Obedience are saying INEC must be unbundled before 2027. Something must be done about INEC before 2027, or else it's going to be effort in futility. Is that what you think also? And then I'll finally take you on a trip to Port Harcourt, River State, where Fayose, who happens to be the former governor of Ekiti State, is saying that this fight between Fubara and Wike is beyond reconciliation. Do you think so too? Okay, let's go on this journey together, everyone. Welcome to Matters on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Sit back. Let me give you some gist. Well, political chieftain who is Sufyan Kazim has urged former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, who happens to be the former Anambra State governor, and others to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. He said they should seek ways to contributing to development of the country. He was responding to the proposed 6-year single term for president. Advising party to align with Tinubu to develop Nigeria. He said it was not too late for Atiku to propose a 6-year single term and rotational presidency. Let me hold on there first. Let me bring in Chukuma Okoro on this one now. Asking or advising some key persons in the system to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. In fact, mentioning names like Atiku Abubakar, like Peter Obi, and so many others to support the president. I want to ask, fine, does it mean that these guys really don't support the president, or they've been fighting this administration too, or they've been advising this administration on the right way to go? I want to understand that concept of what do they call it? Support the president. I mean, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What do you know?
Jude, the point is this: when people make certain statements, they actually miscontextualize it without knowing what they are saying. I say that in the light of the fact that there is something that is called, do you know the duty and value of an opposition in a government? The opposition is more like a shadow government that keeps you on your toes, that tells you where you are going wrong, where you are getting things wrong.
Okay.
And Judah, if you ask me, there is no support that is more than that. Because in actual fact, it is unpaid for. These people serve as somebody like Atiku, somebody like Obi, somebody like anybody who has advised the president from the other side is actually offering advice that the president doesn't have to pay for. When they tell the president, look, I think this is what you got wrong when you removed fuel subsidy, they are offering economic advice. When they say, no, the aviation sector is faltering, no, this is what you need to do about the arbitrage within the oil sector, this is what you need to do about floating of the naira, you got it wrong in this direction, it would have been better if you go in this direction. Judah, that is a support that is not paid for. A minister receives his monthly salary, a minister takes 4 vehicles, a minister has security details, a minister has accommodation. P2B has been offering advice right from the day the president removed fuel subsidy and saying, no, you didn't make proper arrangements before you removed the fuel subsidy. You should have done this. You should have rolled out this stopgap measure to ensure that people don't suffer like we are seeing now. You should have talked about building refineries. You should even talked about revamping the refineries we have. Have you ever heard that the presidency paid Peter Obi 1 naira or Atiku Abubakar or any other person who has disagreed with the economic policies of the president? There is no support that is more than that. Okay. Like I said, it's unofficial board of directors. Judah, when you and I sit out in a pub and you bring an issue concerning your work, you bring an issue concerning your career, and we trash it out, do you pay me for that? You don't. But I give you advice and you give me advice. Is there any support that is more than that? So when people say, look, they should support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu up until 2021, I said they are miscontextualizing it.
2031.
Sorry, 2031. They are miscontextualizing it because even people within the APC have not given the kind of support P2B and Atiku have given. Because people in the APC are actually telling the president, oh, you are getting everything right. When there is price hike in fuel, in electricity, there is soaring inflation, food prices are going up. People can't even go back. There is insecurity in the land. There are no drugs in our hospitals. Government hospitals are not functioning. And people within the APC and within the government, within the presidency, are singing praises of the president. Is that support? That is not support. They are simply digging the man's grave. But the people who are on the flip side asking him, no, this is where you didn't get it right. You should have done things better. Like I said, something like a shadow cabinet. They are the ones that are actually supporting the president. The fact that you are supporting the president does not mean that you are not going to buy ticket to be president in 2021, because you feel strongly that, look, if I am in that position, I will do it better. So that is my take on when people say, no, people should, Atiku and Obi should support Atiku. They are giving more support than even people in the APC.
By becoming the opposition, you mean?
Yes, by becoming, the value of opposition, by keeping the government on its toes. And like I said, the shadow cabinet, an alternative. And the presidency, the president, the government in power, if they are sensible enough, what they should do is to learn from advice given by the opposition. The moment people, your subordinates or your party members don't interrogate the validity of your assumptions, they are doing you a very huge disservice. So if you ask me, people on the other side, on the flip side, are actually the one that are supporting the president. And I think he should says that olive branch given to him by people like Peter Obi, people like Atiku Abubakar, people like Rabiu Kwakwanso, who are sitting from the outside, but they are seeing the inside and saying, look, this ship is going to sink if we continue to move in this direction.
One more thing he said is that they should seek ways to support, to contribute to the development of the country. Atiku and Peter Obi.
How else
seek
apart
ways
from,
to support,
to
contribute.
How else, apart from the kind of moral support, the unpaid for advice that they are giving the president and the ruling government? Judah, is anybody happy with the general exchange rate? Is anybody happy with the MPR, the monetary policy rate that has moved to 27.5 or even beyond that? Is anybody happy that inflation moved in 9 years from 8% to 34.18%? Is anybody happy about that? Except people that are in government. And they are not offering any explanation why we are where we are today, why we are in this situation. Everybody is busy clapping hands for the president. That is not support, if you ask me. They should do better.
Some people feel like those in the All Progressives Congress will always say that one of the reasons why things are this way is because other parties have refused to support this administration. Instead, they are fighting internally and externally against the party.
How much support did Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Muhammadu Buhari give Goodluck Jonathan and Yar'Adua? And things were better than they are today. So those people are just being economical with the truth. There is no fighting.
That whatever Tinubu says, there are persons who would always want to fight him. Fight his statements.
They are
fight
keeping him on his toes to do things better for Nigerians.
Fight his
because
policies.
It's apparent Nigeria is not working now. Everybody can see it. Nigeria is not working. Look at the price of bread. Look at the price of flour. Almost everything is gone out of our menu, of our dining table. Rice is beyond our reach. Beans, common ewa. Jude, when we were young, if people see you eating beans, you are classified and categorized as the poorest of the poor. Today, very rich families cannot even afford that beans. How much is a pencher of beans? Rice is gone out, egg is gone out. Susuan cried out today that a crate of egg is 10,000 naira. How many Nigerians can afford that? And that is a staple, a protein staple on our dining tables, on the dining table of every Nigerian. It is gradually gotten out of that dining table. What do we have again? Is it eba? Or is it amala? Very expensive. Nigerians are finding it difficult to feed. So anybody that says that the situation is right, the person needs to have his head re-examined, if you ask me. So people should not talk about the infighting. The infighting is because we want Nigeria to be better. The Republicans have been on the toe of Biden since 2020 when he became president. It happens in the UK between the Conservatives and the Labour Party. It happens elsewhere. You cannot have a good government except you have a vibrant opposition.
I've been asking this question. I will ask again. Do you think the government of parties is incapacitated? Or is there something we don't know? Because I used to understand that when the citizens are crying for help, when the citizens are not okay with a particular, reform or something, government looks at it and make, a drift, a kind of a change, But then this one is different. You protest, prices of everything increases. When you protest, boom, it will go up again. You try and do it again, it will. It keeps skyrocketing. I don't understand.
When you say if the government is incapacitated, I don't know what you mean by that. Incapacitated in what sense? Is it because they don't have money? Is it because they are not healthy? We have full officialdom. There's only one ministry that doesn't have a minister of Humanitarian Affairs. Every other ministry has a minister, a subsisting minister. We have governors, both APC, PDP, and Afghan and Labour Party governors in place. None of them has died. So what level of incapacitation are you talking about? Is it because we don't have funds? The price of oil has increased, and they have told us that, look, our oil production has increased because we have been able to push back, oil theft.
Okay.
So where is the incapacitation coming from? I don't understand. Maybe you can help me expatiate so that I'll know how to answer the question. Is it incapacitated in terms of health or what? In what angle are you?
Maybe it might be of ideas or something.
Well, if
It's
you talk
vast.
about
It's wide.
if you talk about ideas, it will look to me as if I will not say that they are incapacitated. I will not say that they are bereft of ideas. I'll simply say that the ideas that I have put out, the policy initiative, the policy direction, doesn't look like they are working for Nigeria. So what they need to do is to have a rethink, you know. I'm not sure that the economic policies are very well thought out because they are not working in the immediate. They are not working. If they will work in the long term, well, that's a different ball game. But in the immediate, but nothing shows us that, look, if we continue traveling in this direction, that we'll get to a point where we'll have a reversal of fortunes and everybody becomes happy.
Okay. Now, have you heard that? I mean, some persons, I'll call it probably Bush radio, say that the price of fuel might get up to, say, 1,005 by December.
If you rely on the history of deregulation, the story they sold to us about 10, 12 years ago was that when they deregulate diesel AGO, that market forces will determine the price and it will go down.
Mm-hmm.
12, 13 years down the line, that hasn't happened. I have never seen a time that the price of diesel went below 500 naira since that sector, that stream of the oil sector, that stream of the downstream, was deregulated. It has never come down. So I don't see that the price of fuel will come down in the long run. You know why? The president told us that oil sector has been completely deregulated. What that means is that it is market forces that will now determine the price of fuel. But we still have a Dangote and NNPCL trying to fix price for us, especially from the NNPCL angle. So what kind of economics do you call that? Is it a monopoly? Or what? Or is it oligopoly? Where two actors within the industry, try to set a price for an essential commodity that every Nigerian uses. Is it antitrust? Does it go against our antitrust laws? Does it go against, because we have a Competitive and Consumer Protection Act and all of that? Does that fixing of price between the NNPCL and Dangote, does it run foul of that act? These are the questions that we should be asking ourselves. And like I said, in the long run, I don't see that the price of fuel will come down. If it gets up to 1,500 during the festive periods, I will not be surprised. You know why? Because we're already having problems now with our crude oil production. This morning, I got the news that our crude oil production has dipped to 1.32 million barrels per day.
Mm-hmm.
As against, we had achieved a threshold of 1.4, 1.5 in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We can't even meet our quota. Our pay quota is how much? 1.7. We can't meet that quota. Considering the crisis in the Middle East, that should have given us the opportunity to even push up our production level. But we have not done that. And instead, there's a nosedive. So what's happening is that, given that we also have to service some of our loans with our crude oil stock, and the fact that Dangote refinery will not get as much as the 650,000 barrels per day that the refinery has as its capacity, he's being given only 400,000 barrels per day. He might now resort to meeting that 650,000 barrels, that the 250,000 difference, by having to buy from outside. And if he has to do that, he is going to use dollar to buy, because those people are not giving him at the naira value like we give him here. Mm-hmm. So if you factor all these things together, you will now discover that if a pundit, if an economic, or people in the oil and gas sector make a prediction with a crystal ball putting together all these things and come out to say that oil might hit 2000 in the nearest future. I think I'm not going to be very doubtful of that. It might happen. It might just happen.
Chukwumakoro, let me ask you a simple question. Well, I call it simple. Some persons might say it's a huge question, but then, what do you think is the problem of Nigeria? Why are we here? What is our problem really?
Jude, our problem is the problem of squarely leadership. Chinua Achebe wrote a book. I think I read that book when I was in high school, in Form 4, Form 5. That was 1983. The Trouble with Nigeria. And I think on page 24 of that book, he said clearly that the problem of Nigeria is squarely a problem of leadership. 41 years down the line, we are still grappling with that problem of leadership. Jude, it is leadership that brought us to our knees, to where we are today. We are blessed in terms of natural resources. We have land mass. We have population, which is an asset. We have a coastal line that should have given us naval power, that should make our blue economy thrive. We have coastal line from Lagos, from one end of Lagos to the point that it meets with Equatorial Guinea. Jude, we have human resources. Nigerians have the best of the best. We still account for the most educated diaspora community in the United States of America and Canada. The most educated diaspora community in the United States and Canada. Same thing in other parts of Europe. What is it? We have arable land. Fertile. We have Lake Chad. Look at the Chad Basin that can employ more than 20,000 people. That lake is drying up, and we can't do anything about it. In desert lands in the Middle East, they are creating lakes, using those lakes for irrigation and all of that. Judah, we have, at last count, 323 dams in this country. That can be used for irrigation, can be used to generate electricity, that can be used for all sorts of economic activities. 42 of them are comatose. Many of them don't even do anything. 323 dams at last count. So if you put all these things together, it's clearly a problem of leadership. Judah, let me tell you. People say that we have very huge fault lines. Yes, we are a multi-ethnic society. The United States of America remains the most diverse country in the whole world. You have Nigerian Americans, you have Ghanaian Americans, you have Japanese Americans, you have Chinese Americans, you have Malaysian Americans. Every other country in this world has Americans, have American citizens who don't even go back home. So in terms of diversity, America's diversity is even bigger than our own, but they have been able to manage it, to moderate it and modulate it to the extent that it is now an asset to them. America is on one side. Look at Singapore. If you go to Singapore, you have Chinese. The current Chinese, people who are Chinese by birth that came to Malaysia, that came to Singapore. You have the other Chinese, people that migrated over a millennium ago. You have the Malays, you have the Tamils. You even have Pakistani Singaporeans. Yet, they have been able to manage that diversity. If you go to Malaysia, they have the Malays, they have the Chinese, they have the Indians. Jude, in every part of the world, you have this kind of diversity. If you go to the United Kingdom, you have the Englishman, you have the Welsh, you have the Scot. Nigeria is not the only multi-ethnic society. But our fault lines are so huge. Religion, ethnicity, tribalism. Yet we don't have a leadership that is able to galvanize that diversity, to rally that potential, from our national assets, human assets, to create a great nation. What is our population? 200 million. Our youth account for more than 45-50% of that population. Japan is doing so well. Japan doesn't have a youthful population. They have an aging population. That is why it is easier for people to migrate to Japan to go and work. They don't have the kind of youthful population. That demographic, they don't have it. Yet they are doing very well. Anyhow you look at it, if you turn it around 360 degrees, our problem is that of leadership.
Now, if you say leadership, why do we have this same set of people coming every 4 years? We keep producing this set of leaders. These issues that you mentioned, I don't want to use leadership, all right? You said leadership is the issue in this country. Leadership is our problem in this country. Why do we keep having this set of problem repeatedly every 4 years? And nothing illuminates us. Our eyes are still not open. We are still, remote controlled. Nigerians still are, I don't know how to put it.
Because that same leadership,
we're still divided.
Because that same leadership use our fault lines to divide us, to achieve their selfish.
Like we can't think about emancipation, true emancipation.
Jude, what I mean by saying that the leadership is a problem is because they use the powers that they already have to divide us the more and more. Let's take Singapore as a test case. You know the story of Lee Kuan Yew.
Okay.
Lee Kuan Yew studied in the UK. He made a there's something they call triple star first class. He made a first class. I think it was 5/5. His CGPA was 5/5 in law, in the UK. He didn't want to stay. He went back to Singapore with a group of friends. They formed the PAP, the party that he used to rule Singapore. At that same time, we had Nigerians that were in the UK. And I once went to Kuala Lumpur for a conference, and somebody asked the question, Nigeria, what happened? By the time we were in the UK studying, out of every 10 colored people, 6 or 7 of them were Africans. Of those Africans, 5 were Nigerians. You could probably find 1 or 2 from the Asian, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore. And these are the people who went back to develop their own country. So Nigerians, what happened? That was the question they asked. And the Nigerian delegation, nobody could answer. It boiled down to the issue of leadership. Jude, when you talk about leadership, you are not talking about the aged people. Leadership cuts across. It could be young men. We have been talking about what was it? There was a bill that the President Buhari ascended to, not too old, not too young to rule. And we have young people that have entered, that have been in government. I talk about Dimeji Bankole. He was in his late 30s when he became Speaker of the House of Representatives. How did it end? We have a Yaya Bello who became a governor in his 40s. How did we end? We had an OUK, Ojozo Okalu, who became a governor in his 30s. How did it end? So when you talk about leadership, people tend to have this restricted idea that you are talking about old people, Obasanjo, Shehu Shagare, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafa. No, it runs at everybody that is in a position of responsibility, is a leader. And so the question will be, how have they, both old and young, Audu and the rest of them,
okay,
how have they been able to manage those positions? It is a failure of leadership, if you ask me.
Now, as regards 2020, the leadership or the 2027 election, all right, some persons are saying that every other person, whether you're from the north, east, west, south, everyone should queue, behind Mr. Bala Mohammed, who happens to be the Bauchi State governor. That he is more qualified. This group is called the BAMV. Bala Abdul Qadir Mohammed Vanguard. They've called on Atiku Abubakar of the PDP and, of course, Peter Obi of Labour Party and Rabiu Kwankwaso of the New Nigeria People's Party and other opposition leaders in Nigeria to rally behind Bauchi State Governor Mr. Bala Mohammed in the 2027 presidential election.
One thing is to call, they are at liberty to call that, to make that call. But Nigerians are also at liberty, not to oblige them or not to hit them. I can stay in this studio, I step out of this studio, I say I form a Jude Ikami Jude 2027 presidential outreach. And I say I have seen Jude as the only person that can lead this country in 2027. Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, please step down, let us all queue behind Jude Ikami Jude. When I go out to say that, doesn't mean that you have become the president. They are entitled to their opinion. And when they say that Bala Mohammed is the most qualified, in what sense? Is it based on his antecedents? Is it based on what? On his pedigree or what? Did they tell Nigerians why he's the best? Did they?
They mentioned a couple of facts, They said some uniting, that if they can unite.
No, they're simply, Judah, let's break it down. They're simply trying to fly a kite. That Bala Mohammed.
I think so. I think so, though.
In contesting 2027 presidency. The other time, a couple of guys also flew a kite about Kayode Fayemi, former governor of Ekiti State, former minister of solid minerals. That he was interested in the presidency, and he came out to deny it outrightly. So let us wait and see whether Governor Bala Mohammed will acquiesce to that, or whether he will also come out and debunk, or deny that, look, I'm not the one behind these people, they are on their own, they don't speak for me, and all of that. Like I said, they're entitled to their opinion. Another thing is for Obi and Atiku even to hit the call.
I see that as a whole lot of persons eyeing that seat in 2027, and with way things are going, don't you think North is going to be so divided?
Divided in terms of?
In so many ways. Divided, like the North might have some persons who want to vie, for that position from several regions, from several states. Now, look at it. Whether you like it or not, Bala Mohammed is telling you, I'm here.
Judah, if you talk about,
we have an Atiku saying, I'm here. We have Rabiu Kwankwaso saying, I'm here. So,
Judah, if you talk about division in terms of people who want to contest, in 2023 we had from the northwest flank, we had this young man's name that was former speaker.
I even heard somebody was saying Lamido Sanusi should be vice to one of the presidents come 2027.
Exactly. So let's talk about the division now.
Okay.
What's his name? This young Tamboa.
Okay.
Was on the ticket. Atiku was there. Kwakwanso was there. Who again? A couple of guys from the north were all there, struggling for the presidential ticket. Does it mean that the north was divided? And if you come down south, we had Nyesom Wike, we had Godswill Akpabio, we even had Yaya Bello from the north. We had a Peter Obi, we had a couple of people, even from Anambra State, were angling to get presidential tickets from their parties. Kingsley Moghalu was there, YPP. Does it mean that the south was divided? When they jostle for tickets, there's always that division. But when someone now gets the ticket, it is after that we'll see how divided a cluster is. So at this point, because people are indicating interest, I want to contest, I want to be president, Bala Mohammed wants to be, Sule Lamido wants to be, Kwakwanso has said, look, I'm willing to run as a running mate, to Peter Obi and all of that. Atiku has said, nobody has the right to tell me whether to contest or not to contest. So, using that, you cannot say that either the north or south will be divided. It's only when the tickets are grabbed that you can now say, if you now see splinters, of positions from the north, a huge chunk of the north supporting the south, a huge chunk of the south supporting the north, and you can now say that a region is clearly divided. But to be very frank with you, except there's some kind of ploy by the ruling government to divide the North. The North will not be as divided as they were in 2023, come 2027. I say that in the light of the fact that the North already feels shortchanged by this administration.
Okay.
And if you ask me why, I will tell you. I will tell you in the sense that the North, when Buhari was being nepotistic, the North didn't complain. But the current president, if you ask me, is also nepotistic in his own right. He has done exactly what Tinubu did. And the North is complaining now. The North is kicking. For every position that the president has taken from the North, if there are 7 of them, he has given back 5 to the Southwest. Not even to the South, to the Southwest. So that has become a rallying point, for the North to say, look, we are also marginalized. And if you look at what happened between August 1 and August 10th, you'll see that the protest was more like a statement from the North saying, we are not happy with this administration. That's where I'll leave it.
All right. What do we call him? The 2027 issue, is becoming. It's not 2024 yet, but the way things are going is as if 2027 is just tomorrow.
The plot for
the next election is just tomorrow morning.
The struggle for 2027 started on May 29th, 2023, when the president was sworn in. Yes, that was the day the struggle for 2027 started. So don't go and relax thinking that, it's only by 2026. The plots, the plans, the strategies are being laid out right now, ahead of 2027. And there is nothing wrong with that, so long as governance does not suffer. But if governance suffers, it becomes a problem. So that is why the moment you have someone become elected into office, either as a governor or the president, that person should concentrate on governance and leave politics to the political party, to the party chairman, to the national working committee, to the state working committee, of the party. They can only be having, irregular meetings with the president or with the governor who happens to be the leader of that party. But the governor or the president should concentrate more on governance and leave his party men to do the politicking and just give him feedback. Not a situation where you see a governor or a president, trying to get involved in party politics while in active governance. It doesn't work that way. And that is why most times we have decay in infrastructure, we have misgovernance, we have maladministration, and all of those things, because the governor or the president is playing politics with the lives of the people.
Okay, we'll go on a very short break now. Everyone, before I go, Obedience are saying something to the president. It's very hot. It's really, really very hot. You get to find out. I'll be right back. My name is Jude, and this is Matters.
Kidnapper! Na dem o, he wan use person do money, kill am!
Sit tire for here, put am for him neck, burn am, yes! I no go find better work do, na yahoo dem go dey do, burn am! Stop!
Dat person wey you wan born, if it dey innocent, no go carry person blood put for your head. Jungle justice no good at all. Stop am.
You wey light the fire, you no get heart? Say no to jungle justice.
You uncle wey follow for the crowd dey look wey dem dey born person, you no stop dem. E dey do you like film abi? Your hand sef no clean o. You fit enter gbege. Stop the lynching. Stop jungle justice.
Under the criminal law for Lagos State, person wey start jungle justice, those wey support am and those wey just sit down look, all of them fit rot for jail. My name na Benjamin Hundeyin, Lagos State Police talk person. Stop jungle justice.
This
This message now from Lagos State Police Command.
And VOP 90.3
The
FM.
issue of palliatives. I will enjoin Nigerians to collect whatever palliative they bring to your side. That is the truth, especially in terms of money. Because if you don't collect it, this money will be embezzled by people who are top government officials. By the time you are saying you are not doing you are just being yourself. Collect the money before they embezzle everything, put it into their pocket or take it to Igbo country. Collect the money and use it for your own good.
Yeah, VOP TV. VOP TV. Yeah, VOP TV.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at VOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. VOP TV. Show up, speak up.
I am Mr. Nigeria. Now me be the man where go cure this country. I am Mr. Nigeria. Hey yo, this is Boam Jovi asking you to join Jude Ekami Jude on matters where we gather to chatter and banter with laughter as we scatter all the matters that place our lives in tatters on VOP 90.3 FM, Voice of the People.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Voice of the People 90.3 FM. And of course, my name is Jude Ikami Jude. If you're just tuning in, I say welcome again. Chukwuma Okoro is my guest this afternoon, and we're looking at some basic issues. All right, this afternoon, we're looking at some very, very vital key issues in the polity. Quickly, let me let you know, as I also seek the opinion of my analyst here, the Obedience Movement. You know, a group comprising supporters of Peter Obi, the presidential candidate of Labour Party in the 2023 elections, has advocated electoral reform to ensure a free and fair election in 2027. And what are they saying? They're saying INEC must be unbundled before 2027 election. Obedience is saying this. Must be unbundled before 2027 election.
Well, what do they mean by unbundled?
The change... whatever
that is not they should look for an appropriate language. When they talk about reform, I will understand reform, but when they say unbundle, is it that they want to create regional INEC or zonal INEC? We already have state independent electoral commission, so that is some kind of unbundling. So what more unbundling do they want? So I would rather stick with the word reform, that INEC should be reformed. And yes, a lot of people will agree with them that INEC needs to be reformed, especially we have the issue of allegiance. Okay. Allegiance is that, Judah, if I appoint you as INEC chairman, most likely you will owe your position. You'll be beholden to me. So a few Nigerians have also said, look, is there any way we can work around the appointment of the umpire? Should it be the president that has the power to appoint the INEC chairman and the commissioners? Some people say transfer that power to the National Judicial Commission, NJC. And the argument was, the core of it was, it is the president that appoints the CJN who has the NJC. So if you allow the NJC to appoint the INEC chairman, you have simply transferred that allegiance, of the head of the umpire through the NJC to the president. And now some people said, okay, can't you take a process that is called sortition? The process of sortition is when you get a certain number of people, you now vote for them. Like in some positions in the United States, like in the positions of the DA, the district attorney, and the attorney general of justice of states are by elections. Okay. Yes, you have to go through a process of election to become the attorney general of a state. You do know why? They want to remove that allegiance to the governor who appoints you. as Attorney General. So a lot of people have also canvassed that position. But beyond that, when we are at a place and someone said, does it really matter? Jonathan inherited, who appointed Jega? It was Jonathan appointed Jega. Was it? It was Jonathan appointed Jega. And Jega seemingly, allegedly, worked against Jonathan. So they now say, look, it has nothing to do with who appoints. It has to do with the credibility of the individual that is appointed as head of the umpire. So it is neither here nor there.
Sorry, hold on. When you say Jega worked against Jonathan, some persons might want to argue.
And I said that's why I said allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly worked against him, because people were at the collation center and saw what happened. Votes were coming in from all parts of the country, and at a point, Godswill Orubebe, minister for what affairs?
Orubebe.
Godswill Orubebe, he was minister, and he raised objection. At that point, Nigeria could have unraveled if he had stopped Jega from continuing with the announcement.
I think it's Niger Delta, right?
Yeah, he's from Niger Delta now. Godswill Orubebe, I think he's from Bayelsa State. But it didn't happen, and Jega went ahead. But you know what happened? It was at the last point that the results from Kano and Borno came in. Judah, you'll also recall that Borno was war-torn.
Yeah, I think
during
he was
that period.
Minister of Niger Delta
Minister
Affairs.
of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Orubebe.
Yeah.
At that time, Borno was under the control of insurgents.
It's not God's will, it's God's day.
God's there, but God something, Orubebe. The surname is Orubebe.
God is there, right?
Orubebe. God is there. Orubebe. Borno State was under the control of insurgents. 3 local governments were under the control of insurgents. Meduguri was a no-go area. Yet, Borno State posted figures higher than peaceful areas. So how did those votes come about? Who voted for APC in that 2015 general election? So when some people allege that Jega worked against Jonathan, you have to give them some kind of, an opportunity to even vent and say their mind. So away from that, the issue of reforms in INEC, it's okay. It's will I say it's long overdue. When Yar'Adua got into power, he admitted, he said, the election that brought me into office was flawed. And he immediately instituted a committee, an electoral reform committee, headed by Justice Muhammad Owais, retired Justice Muhammad Owais. Owais came out with very, very fantastic ideas.
Beautiful.
Beautiful ideas.
Now, that is what what do I call them?
The
obedience are saying. They are saying that the Independent Electoral Commission, is overwhelmed with a lot of responsibilities, and the OI's electoral report should be adopted to pave the way for free and fair elections in Nigeria. That's what they say.
Did they tell you what were the recommendations of the OI's report?
They said the electoral reform is supposed to address, who becomes the chairman of INEC.
Which I talked
knowing
about.
fully well that what is happening now is state capture. Already, INEC, not the police, has been captured. We are talking about INEC, which may soon announce a new chairman if the office of the incumbent elapses. We are also discussing the judiciary, which has been captured in a way. What we are interested in is an electoral reform that can provide free and fair elections for all Nigerians, irrespective of religion, tribe, or origin. When the electoral reform is corrected, we may finally achieve the credible elections that we want.
If the police is captured, the judiciary is captured, and you want to reform only INEC, what gives you the impression that judiciary and police will not capture INEC?
But INEC first, the spearhead.
No,
right?
I think the appropriate thing to do is to do an overhaul, a complete rejig, like some people have argued, of the structure itself called Nigeria. By doing what? And going back to the Obasanjo conference, or to the Goodluck Jonathan, or even bring the 1995 General Sani Abacha conference, the 2005 Olusegun Obasanjo National Confab, and then the 2014 Goodluck Jonathan Confab. Bring those three documents together, and now sift, filter, do a surgery, some kind of surgery, dissecting here and there, so that you can begin to bring out ingredients, very edible ingredients from each of those three confabs, and now put together a document with which we can use to navigate forward. It is not enough to say reform INEC when you admit that the police have been captured and you don't want to reform the police, when you agree that the judiciary has been captured and you don't want to reform the judiciary. So if you ask me, it should be a total overhaul of the entire system. Going by, I think, using the track or the route that I have just mentioned, put together those three documents that have taken so much money, so much energy, so much intellect, of our people. We have our people, best brains gather to put together those documents. Filter them, bring out the good ingredients that we can swallow and put them together. That is how we can begin to moderate and modulate our differences. If you look at the Abacha conference, the Abacha conference talked about having the position of the prime minister, talked about having rotational presidency. Even talked about rotational vice presidency and all of that, like you have in some places. I keep citing the instance of Lebanon. Lebanon is also multi-ethnic. You have Christians, you have Muslims, you have Maronites, and you have traditionalists, and they have a way of, revolving the presidency from one group of people to the other, giving everybody a sense of belonging. Until such a time, we will build our society until such a time, that we are able to see ourselves first as Nigerians before looking at our ethnic backgrounds. That is what we need to do.
Look at one of the things they said. They said we are also discussing the judiciary. Like you said, what about the police? What about what are those things you mentioned? But people look at is INEC first, right? Those who count the votes. So if you treat INEC, then probably you've been able to solve 50% of the problem. But some persons will also tell you that, see, it is not about who leads INEC, who chairs INEC. It's about the mentality. If you change Mahmoud Yakubu and you put in another stooge, if you change Mahmoud Yakubu and the person who is there is even someone who supports the administration so well, and the person tells you, well, I will play according to what so and so person wants, what would you say?
Judah, I think I touched on it a few minutes ago when I talked about the credibility of the person that heads that agency itself. Dr. Sam Ahmadi said something the other day, and it was an issue of legality, our jurisprudence. He said the electoral law, that he believed that INEC didn't do a good job by saying that the guidelines that INEC proposed to use in running and delivering the 2023 general election was no longer part of our electoral law because it is merely a guideline. And Sam Ahmadi said, if within the law you have put out a guideline, this is the guideline I'm going to use to run this election. It becomes law within the purview of the guideline you also have put out. So you cannot, in the middle of the game, change that guideline. It becomes an illegality. If you said, look, we are going to use electronic mode of transmission, and halfway you said no, because it is a guideline, not part of the electoral law, we cannot use it again. Sam Ahmadi faulted it. A couple of legal minds have also faulted that. So it also has to do with the credibility of the individual that is at the head of the body. And it goes back to doing what I asked, a total rejigging of not just INEC, the police and the judiciary, but the structure itself called Nigeria. Judah, there's something called this. You know how a system works. System creates dependencies. One is dependent on something. One is dependent on two on three. So if you remove two, the system simply collapses. So you cannot reform INEC alone and just leave. Every other institution needs to be reformed to have a better whole.
What you hear out there is that the judiciary has been compromised, or the judiciary has been captured. And now we ask a big question. What do we do? Because the rot in the system is high. I mean, it didn't start today. So preferring solution to it, before 2027, for me and some other persons, it might be just, I don't know.
Well, I think the new CJN says she's coming to reform the judiciary and that she's here to fight corruption. She said. I wasn't the one that said. So if you think that judiciary has been captured, you also have hope because you have a CJN who says, okay, I'm going to reform the judiciary. Meanwhile, the immediate past CJN told this one, Ariola told Kekereku, look, as you step in, you need to reform the judiciary. And Nigeria has asked, why couldn't you reform the judiciary when you were the CJN? Why did you have to leave it for Kekereku to do that? $1 million question. More questions than answers.
And do you think Kekereku is capable to do that? It now looks as if when you come, you just promise first and reassure the people that you do justice, you do this, you do that. Oh, all hands will be on deck,
Sound bites.
And then
sound bites, newspaper headlines, television headlines, radio headlines. That's what they give out. And continue to do what they like. Jude, we call it the iron law of oligarchy. Jude, this thing you are doing is not good. Jude, I condemn you in totality. Jude, this and that. And when I come into that position that Jude was occupying, I do worse than Jude was doing. It's the iron law of oligarchy. You want to replace somebody because you take a populist position, and when you come to that same position, you do worse than that person. So if you talk about Kekereku's ability, well, I would like to see her change, because she also is carrying a baggage that Nigerians know. She sat on the panel that upheld the election of Hope Uzodimma and gave him from number 4 to number 1. You could say that I'm not a learned man, I'm not a lawyer by training, but a couple of lawyers too, very sound legal minds, also faulted that judgment. So you cannot say that I'm taking it out of tune with reality. She was also in a panel that delivered the 2023 presidential petition tribunal judgment that said that, look, at the point when Atiku Abubakar procured fresh evidence, from the CSU to show that a certain candidate, had filed inappropriate returns with INEC, the Supreme Court clearly rejected it and said, no, we cannot accept it. It's no longer admissible in evidence. Even when Rule 70, Section 4 of the Supreme Court's rules says that, look, the Supreme Court, if they have overriding evidence that will help someone pursue his case to a conclusion, that they should admit it. They didn't do that. She was a member of the panel and all of that. You recall that U.S. also rejected her visa application because of what happened in Hope Uzodimma. So coming from that background, we would like to see a change, of attitude, a change in behavior on her part. Some of us are hopeful that she is going to put in her best, but we don't know whether her best will be good enough. But at any point in time, we still have to hope for the best.
The idea is reached, during 2014 confab, if put to play.
Sorry, the ideas?
The ideas that were reached in the 2014 confab, if put in place, will change the country, will change the narrative completely. All right, but people ask you, like for instance, the president mentioned it recently. Okay, something is going to be done. We'll look into Orosai's report and all of that. And up until now, no one is talking about Orosai's report anymore.
Report. He didn't
what did he say?
He gave order for it to be implemented.
It's the same thing now. So
what? Not the same thing.
What are we saying?
No, we look into it. We are going to consider it. They have finished the consideration. He said implement.
So okay, what is happening now?
No, what is happening?
Are we even talking about it again? I mean,
what is happening is that away from the original report, the president pulled out the Department of Livestock from the Ministry of Agriculture and created a full ministry from that department. That is what is happening now. You don't get it. Understand report said collapse of ministries, MDAs, and all of that. And our president said implement. And the president turned out around to expand the Ministry of Agriculture and created a Ministry of Livestock Development against the letters of the original report that we should collapse.
So
that is what is we are. Where we are is that Jude, I don't know what you want me to say. I've said everything I should say, and our listener at home has made his own judgment. Must I say everything?
Yes, of course. You were on the show.
I've said everything that I'm supposed to say. You asked me what are we doing in our national report, and I said we are implementing it. What else do you want me to say?
Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. Everyone. This same person said that they have always been advocating that the UI's electoral report should be made sacrosanct because it states that INEC should be unbound to 3 entities. 1, electoral enforcement agencies. 1, 2, a delineation commission. 2, and then the electoral body itself. 3, break it.
Yes, or is talked about creating election courts to try people, who commit electoral offenses. And that's practically about law and enforcement. And you begin to ask, what has happened to the police? What has happened to the regular courts? It's like saying that you have to...
Election tribunal,
You have election tribunal. But no, election tribunals are not meant to try offenders. Election tribunals is more like an arbiter, between parties to a dispute. Electoral dispute, election dispute, you were not qualified to run ab initio, you cheated, you rigged, you overcalculated, you miscalculated, and all of that. It's different from having an election court where you try offenders, people that have committed election malpractices. These are 2 different things. And it's like saying that you have to create a financial crimes court where we go to try people that were arrested or people that have been investigated by the EFCC and all of that. It will simply amount to duplication of functions and all of that. We have the police is there for law enforcement. We have the NSCDS. We have other agencies, that can collaborate with the police to ensure that, look, offenders are brought to justice and tried in our regular courts. I think, it's not that everything that the wise...
No, let's look at it again. Some persons have said, even if you unbundle INEC, even if you do anything about INEC, even if judiciary is being whatever, whatever you do, that 2027 will be a repeat of what happened in 2023.
What happened in 2023?
They snatch it and run with it.
Nigerians allowed it to happen.
That's what we're saying.
Nigerians allowed it.
Look at what happened in Edo. The way they muzzled up figures from one certain area.
Nigerians allowed it to happen. If Nigerians say no,
they decide before an election. People get results in Nigeria before an election.
If Nigerians say no, then it won't happen. And people get the government they deserve, and people get the leadership they deserve, and the people deserve the leadership they get. It's a 2-way thing.
Voice of the People, 90.3. Let's get you into this talk. Let's talk about it. 0700 903 903 903 is the official number. All right, just call me and let's talk briefly. Okay, everyone, if you're calling, just be brief about it. 0700 903 903 903 is the number to call, and then WhatsApp is 081 717 56338 081 717 56338. All right, be civil about your comments, and just about 60 seconds for everyone. I would want to take more of WhatsApp calls today. So if you want to talk to me this afternoon, quickly engage WhatsApp 081 717 56338. 563338. That's a WhatsApp number, 08171756338. Move away from the radio set, turn down the volume so we can hear each other. Thank you so very much. Hello, good afternoon to you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
My name is Evan calling from Ladipo.
What's your name?
Evan calling from Ladipo.
All right, Evans, welcome. You speak up, please, Evans.
You see, I don't get where it's like we play too much in this country. Look at the issue of, hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
This Kekere issue, your guest just spoke about the fact that she was among those that anchored this 2023 electoral tribunal stuff. That's one. The other one is on Hope Uzodinma's issue. I think we brought evidence against our president. He turned it down. Then it came later, whatever. Put this side by side with increase, 200% increase in salary of our judicial workers. Kekoyaku is now the supreme leader, Supreme Court head. They play too much for this country. We know all these things, but we act as if let's be politically correct or what. Anyway, I got to get power. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate you. Thank you. 0700 903 903 903. That's a number to call. Then WhatsApp 081717 56338. Again, 081717 56338. Just call in and we'll talk about it quickly. Hello, good afternoon to you this afternoon. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your name?
This is Divine from Good.
Welcome.
Yeah. I like your program. Very interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah. My contribution this afternoon is very simple. I've come to the conclusion that politicians are our problem. Not just in Nigeria, but the world all over. Look at what is happening in the Middle East, Russia, and other places. All these problems is still happening based on the personal interest of politicians. In the case of Nigeria, all these reforms that you and your guests have been discussing, they cannot come to pass if the politicians don't do it. And when you look at it, they won't do it because they won't favor them or their personal interest. And I on my own, I think the only way you can make them do it is to put pressure on them. And how do we do that? I feel election is the only way that we can use to put pressure on them. And if you look at the things, they have been putting pressure on us automatically. Every single hour, the politicians somewhere is putting pressure on the common man in Nigeria. Every year. An election, what does my election? Election should be different. This issue of election every 4 years is too long. Give them freedom and peace to come up, cook up terrible ideas on how to put us into more problems. Election, if you look at the politicians that are in power, they don't like election. They don't. When they're in power, they get elections. Why those that are not in power, that want to get into power, love to have elections so that they can manipulate the system and get into power. So if we keep having frequent elections, to me, I feel we should be having election every year. So we should be pressurizing them. Those that are in power know that they cannot have the opportunity to give you election every year.
Right.
So what do? They'll be forced to do the right thing.
Thank you.
They'll be forced to do the right thing.
Thank you so much.
So I think that's the only way we can solve this problem of politicians.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate your call. 0700 903 903 903 is the number to call. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Kami Jude.
Good afternoon. Hello. Okay. Like I said, if you're calling, kindly move away from your radio set or turn down the volume. Okay? Thank you so much. Hello? Uh-oh. What happened? Do call back, okay? WhatsApp number is 08171756338. You can call the number or you send me a message quickly, okay? Thank you so much. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah,
good afternoon.
Yeah, do I allow me to be calling this station?
Huh?
And do I asking of how many figure of this number last time? You send it to me. Thank you very much, sir.
Oh, okay. You're welcome.
Yes, sir. Concerning my name is Ajibola Akishola. I'm calling from Iyanota.
Okay.
Concerning the Kekere Ekun, our elder father make tofa. Whether you grind pepper, whether you put pepper for grinding machine, whether you take stone ground pepper no go change attitude. I'm not from Imo. What is happened in Imo last time, I'm not happy. How number 4 become number 1? I was not happy since that time. It's not good. It's not good for this democracy. So please, we need to reform judiciary. People are calling to remove this INEC chairman. To remove INEC chairman is not. We cannot be solving the problem. Just to remove INEC attitude so that Nigeria can move forward. If somebody stole another person's mandate, there it cannot be peace. We voted for carry hand over to Kendi. It cannot be peace. That's it, sir.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate your call. This is Voice of the People, and we are 90.3 FM. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon.
What's that name again? The name.
They know me like.
And the analyst in your studio.
Yeah.
Yes. Before I further proceed, I would like to pin down this question.
All right.
The question is: if we have all bad eggs in government, is it possible? And if so, then it is understood. But how about the good ones? Don't we have?
Hello? Oh, your network, right? So very sorry about that. YouTube, my YouTube friends, if you're watching live, kindly drop a comment and I'll come there to read all of them back to back, okay? But make sure your comments are good enough to read. Yeah, that's my advice for you this afternoon. Let's do more calls now. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Jude.
Welcome.
Yeah, I just want to add my voice. Yeah. On this Kekereku, the CGN. Since our Honorable President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that woman, the woman is the person in the panel that installed him. So the government is compensating. He is just compensating him. Compensating her. Every appointment he did. I mean, the president is compensation. He compensated almost all of them. So that is exactly why we are not having any progress. So my name is Osumo. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Appreciate your call. Appreciate you. This is Voice of the People. Okay, I will get to read your comments. Check your time now. It's 2:40 p.m. Everyone, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can we do that?
Hi, good afternoon to you.
This is Samuel calling from Hayago.
Okay.
My own contribution is based on electoral reform. You see, there is no, even if we do the electoral reform, as far as APC is still there, and Tinubu, all the elections that have been conducted under this current administration, is there any party won except APC? And when they won the election, just imagine what happens in Imo State and secondly in Benin. See what the APC people have done in that place, and we are sitting complaining that this one. We want electoral reform. As far as we cannot sit down and say we don't accept this result. Nothing will happen. You have to reject all those results, starting from the polling unit. If not, I don't think this Nigeria will work. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate your call. Thank you. Indeed. Thank you. 90.3 FM, Voice of the People. I'll take your calls, okay? I see several messages hitting me right now. Somebody saying the method of collation of results is fraught with error. This is where rigging of election results take place. Collation of results should be electronic and should not be INEC's discretion. Chima from Surulere sent that message. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Silas. I'm calling from Osa.
All right, welcome, Silas.
Thank you. You see, let me first of all talk about World Bank as a Minister of Information now. I don't know. They've assumed the Minister of Information for Nigeria. Whether you like it or not, I want to tell you that they are trying to prepare our mind for their hidden agenda. That is number one. Number two, we can begin to see that there is no vacancy 2007, 2027, 2031. Because if it can be possible for the man in the helm of affairs in Nigeria to do all that he did last year, I bet you it will not take him 12 hours to change the constitution to suit his agenda. It is not, because look at us now. Nobody can talk. Nobody can say anything. He's just coasting on with his way.
Of course.
You get it? And I tell you, on this issue of fuel, it's necessary I say it and I shout it until the information we get to the person who got ordained to challenge them until they ruffle it out. I tell you, see, if you want to prove me wrong, go and Google it. The cost of extracting crude oil per barrel is $23.5. You get it? And if you work by that calculation, they are getting that you can only get nothing more than 300 naira or 350 naira, between 300 naira and 350 naira for the cost of extracting and refining fuel. Tell me, how they come about 990 naira per liter? My brother, please, I would like you to try. Go and Google it. The cost of extracting fuel, crude oil.
Thank you.
In Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Appreciate your call. Somebody is saying, my belief is that one day the country, or my belief is that any day the country, have a leader with vision, but not a ruler, the country and the citizens will start to experience the drastic change that they deserve. She Cots from ET sent that message. The guest has spoken well about the central problem bedeviling our growth in Nigeria. Leadership is squarely a problem, and not until we get it right, we will just be turning round in circles. Yusuf from our Jao estate sent that message. Okay. Asking good afternoon, Jude. Asking me Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar is like adding an old wine into a new wine. Let us allow them to exhibit their ignorance and come down for. What are you trying to say? I am not getting it at all. Okay, please use either. Thank you so very much. Okay. Let me get the English. I decide however I use it. Okay? Thank you so very much. Are you aware that I'm a wordsmith? You know what that word means? Yeah, I'm a wordsmith. Go and find out in the dictionary what that means and come back and tell me. Aneke Chinonso, yeah, I'm talking to you. Thank you so very much. Anyway, this person is saying that it's a surprising thing that Nigerians are celebrating APC and clapping for the president who doesn't care for them. It's well. Francis from Adeni sent in that message. If Nigerians want to get this nation back on positive growth, INEC must be reformed before 2027 elections. APC and the presidency have captured every situation that is supposed to checkmate their actions and inactions in government, and it will be very difficult to win election against them. What happened in 2023, Imo and Edo Guba elections are just the grab, snatch, and runaway system of elections in practice. The after effect of those actions is economic downturn and hardship we have today in Nigeria. Nigeria needs total overhaul. The system has been captured by a few terrible figures. Nigeria is bleeding. TC from Ojo sent that message. Thank you so very much. Okay, Voice of the People 90.3 FM. A whole lot of calls are coming in that I cannot take. I don't know why I have not been able to take this calls. Okay, hold on. Let me talk to you first. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, welcome.
Good afternoon, Judy, okay. Pardon me, please. This is Chibuzo calling from Nigeria.
That's okay, welcome.
All right, thank you very much. I heard people talking about reform of the system, reform of that, reform of this. I want to ask a question. Who is it that in this life that can change what is benefiting him? No one wants to change what he is benefiting from. The redemption of Nigeria lies in the hands of same-thinking Nigerians. I repeat, the redemption of Nigeria lies in the hands of same-thinking Nigerians. And until these same Nigerians wake up, this country is not going to get any better. I get pissed off when people call in radio stations and lament and rant all they can, lament, and then end up with it is only God. I'll always tell people, God will never do for a man what he has empowered man to do for himself. God has blessed this country. Nigeria is the most blessed country ever in the whole world. Because what other countries have, we have them. And what good other countries lack, we have them here. The only thing that is lacking in Nigeria is leadership. Leadership is what is lacking in Nigeria. Good leadership. Look at how old this country is. Yes, this country seems to be 500 years backward. And then we keep repeating the same thing and expect a change. It's not going to happen until same-thinking Nigerians rise up and change the system. Because those who are managing the system now, they cannot change what they are benefiting from. Okay? Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you. I heard you.
So this country, those who are in the helm of affairs now, they are benefiting from this system, so they can't change it. It is Nigeria that will change, that will rise up,
all right,
and change what is developing this country. If not, and as the Igbo adage would say, you can't drive from Lagos to Abuja in reverse. I don't know how possible that is for you to drive from Lagos to Abuja with the reverse gear.
Okay, thank you.
God bless Nigeria.
I appreciate you. All right, Sahid from Barua. Sahid, rather. Is it Barua Sahid? Are you calling for? Are you? Help me understand. Are you Barua Sahid, or you are sending a message from Barua? Let me understand, please. Thank you. But he's saying that the obedience meant well in the assertion. However, reforming only INEC won't change anything. The whole system needs a general overhaul. And of course, the earlier we do that before the next general election, the better for us. Okay, let me quickly visit my friends on YouTube and read just one or two comments there. Mr. Chukwumati Mitokwe Agbola is saying something. He said, how can we get rid of bad leadership in Nigeria? It's a very long... how can we get rid of bad leadership in Nigeria? And another person, just you conclude with that, okay? Yeah. This person is saying, good afternoon, please. What do you mean? He's saying to you again now. What do you mean by people get what they want? Please explain. Explain that to us. It's okay. People get what they want, the leadership they want, and all of that. And Onoche Madu Abuchi is saying he's from Badagry. All right. Okay. Thank you so very much. Maybe you will just wrap up with that, with that explanation. Let's hear you.
Judah, the thing is this: I didn't say that people get what they want. I said people deserve the leadership they get, and people get the leadership they divide. You know what that means? What it means?
Say it again, please.
People deserve the leadership they get, and people get the leadership they deserve.
Okay.
You know what that simply means is calling to question the people's actions. You know, in elections. If you see that someone, when he was in your community, was a clear thief, when you see that someone in your community says, no, I have a school cert, I have a university degree, and the person clearly doesn't have it. When you see that someone in your community was giving community funds and he mismanaged it, and the person brings himself up for election into the local council, and he brings out 200,000 naira and gives you 5,000 naira out of that 200,000 naira, when you clearly know that the man has forged his certificate, that he mismanaged community fund, that he didn't even say go attend the schools he attended, and you go ahead to vote for the person, you deserve the leadership you get because you voted for that person. Meanwhile, on the other side, you have a decent man who says, look, I went to this school, I finished from this university, I did that, I worked here and there, and you gave him money and he returned it and did the work with it. But this person did not give you 5,000 naira to vote for him. Now, the person you voted for turns out to mismanage your funds, local government funds. Do you have a moral right to complain? No, you don't. You don't have a moral right to complain because you have already taken up front the dividends, the benefits that you have accrued from good leadership. That is what I mean when I say that the people deserve the government they get, and that people get the government they deserve. Is the action of the electorate. That said, the person that asked the question about how do we change bad leadership, you know, the thing about democracy is that democracy is a beautiful form of government. You know, it's rational in the sense that one of the processes that makes democracy is the opportunity, the ability, the right, not even a privilege, the right to choose who leads you, who governs you. And a certain political philosopher said, you know, when one, I always forget that, you know, when you have given, you do not have a right to complain. You know, when you have given out, if you do not vote in an election, then you have lost the right to complain if you are not governed properly. So what it means is that Nigerians should troop out. The only way we can change leadership is that all of us live in the same communities. We live in the same local government. We know our individual capacities. We know our antecedents and all of that. During elections, vote the right people into government. That is the only way. Okay. That's the only way to change the bad leadership. That's all.
Okay. And Chibuzo is adding, he's sending this from Ijesha. He said,
I remember now, the price of indifference is one being ruled by his inferior. A political philosopher said that. The price of indifference is one being ruled by his inferior. What it means is that if you do not go to cast your votes,
you'll be ruled by anything.
By anything. Because you have exhibited some kind of indifference. I'm not interested, you know. The thing is already rigged. It's already rigged ahead. I've already allocated the vote. No, the votes have not been allocated. Go and vote and protect your vote. So if you exhibit that level of indifference, the price is that you will be ruled by your inferior, and you lose the moral right to complain if you do not go to exercise your civic responsibility of voting for good leadership.
The eyes have it.
Yes.
The eyes have it.
Yes. But don't send any mail. Don't send any mail to my mailbox.
We have to go, everyone. Before I go, let me check on this message sent by Chibuzo from Ijesha. I said people deserve the leadership that they condone because the leadership of a society is lucid representation of what values the society allows. People deserve the leadership they condone because the leadership of a society is lucid representation of what values the society allows.
No, I don't agree with that. Or let me amplify what I've always said that a society cannot change whatever it condones. A society cannot change whatever it condones.
It's okay. Thank you, everyone. Check your time now. It's 2:57. We have to go. I'll be here tomorrow by the special grace of God. Chukwumakoro, thank you so very much.
Thank you very much.
Really do appreciate
Jude for having me on your show.
You can call me my name. Call me that name.
Jude Ikami Jude. Thanks for hosting me on your show.
My name is Jude Ikami Jude. Thank you, everyone. I'll be here tomorrow. On social media, I am just Ikami Jude. Just type Ikami Jude. I'm out of here. Good afternoon, Nigeria.
Now the wait is over. The answer is here. The big question.